Hey guys, Thunder E here. I'm back again with my buddy Marian Sell.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, and if you guys don't know who he is a professional photographer. He's been helping me out doing these awesome tests on smartphones to see what a professional photographer like him thinks about, different smartphones. We've done the Galaxy S9 Plus, we've done the Huawei P20 Pro, and this time it is the OnePlus 6.
Yep.
Now, before I give you this device, did you know anything about OnePlus?
No, I actually never heard of OnePlus.
Okay, so this is fresh for him. And did I tell you anything about the device when I give it to you?
No.
All right, cool. So let's jump in and see what kind of photos he took and what he thinks about the OnePlus 6, at least from a professional photographer's angle.
Yeah, let's do it. We selected a few images that we wanted to show to you because there's some positive things I want to talk about and some negative things. There are more images that I shot throughout this weekend with the telephone. It was, as I said, it was a lot of fun to using this telephone and shooting photos. But here are a few we want to talk about. So first shot is our supermodel again, and she agreed to another gig. So maybe remember when I shot with the Huawei P20, I had a portrait of her which was somewhat similar. I zoomed into it and it was actually really beautiful to see what was happening. And unfortunately, zooming into this, there are not enough details. The eyelashes are basically completely gone, which is very unfortunate because the photo looked great on the display of the camera. It does not look great on the display of my computer, and it's never going to be looking as good as photos of cameras of other brands. I'm sorry to say that. Now, depending on what you want to do with the photo, if you want to blow it up, then you have more trouble with this one. Unless you want to just send it to your friends as a JPEG or put it on social media, then the file is perfect for that.
Okay.
Yeah. Next photo is interesting because it looked to the eye like a boring sunset situation, and I just cranked up the contrast a little bit inside the telephone, and it actually made it look very dramatic. I thought, as I said, the working with the phone is fun. Editing the images afterwards is also fun. So here you go. Cool shot of something that wasn't looking exciting to the eye.
Quick one, and the first image, when we blew that up on here, it didn't look that great, but this one looks actually much better. Is it because this is, okay, I can see it's some of that.
Well, unfortunately, yes, it looks good.
I say it's maybe because, of course, it's just subject matter is a little bit different.
Maybe yes. I mean, when I look at it a little bit too closely, then once again I'm a little bit thrown off by those highlighted edges. That is the sharpening that the software of the telephone does.
Okay.
It could be less. It could be less, and it would look better to me. I love the way the camera works. So I went around into the water and played with a few waves, taking photos of waves because they're my favorite things. And I really like the shot. The detail is great. The phone switched to a very high shutter speed, like somewhere around 2,000 of a second or so. The details are great. There's a lot going on. You see, it's a lot of drama basically. By the way, the wave was only about 1 foot high, so I didn't risk to lose the phone. Well, it's like risking my life basically. That didn't happen. I want to mention the phone does not shoot black and white on its own. I took the colors out after shooting. So, of course, the phone offers the portrait mode because that's the new thing to do in order to make your telephone images look more like what a photo with a bigger sensor would look like. If you have a nice lens on a big sensor, then you get the fall off into the background. I used the same mode with the Huawei and with the Samsung, and unfortunately, once again, the software of this telephone doesn't seem to be there yet. The edges look way blurry. It gives me a little bit of a cringy feeling as a photographer who's actually used to working with bigger lenses and bigger sensors. You really see that there's something digital happening here that is trying to create something that's not there. So maybe OnePlus can step up the game on this one. Also, one more thing is that if you want to create this feeling of a big sensor naturally, then you'd also have to go ahead and blur out the foreground a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if the Google phone or if the Huawei or if the Samsung do this, but the foreground looks too sharp compared to the fall off that's happening in the background. That would be a request basically. Please, in a portrait mode, please blur out also the foreground. All right, then there's this mode, which is kind of fun. It's called, I think, a bokeh mode, maybe?
Yeah, it's part of the portrait mode. There's a little icon on the side, and you can add stars and hearts and things like that.
Yes. So if you take a portrait of somebody and there's lighting happening in the background, or well, maybe it's in the darkness and there's some city lights, you can choose to transform those lights into stars and hearts and anything else that you like.
See, well, for me, with this photo, as I told you earlier, I did like the way the droplets actually showcased here.
Yes.
And to me, I think it captured that well enough, even though, again, it's moving, it's a shower, right? So it's moving
it is just a shower
at a very high speed in terms of what it's doing. So
yeah, it didn't look very spectacular to the eye, but the phone did a fun job at making it look cool, I think.
Yeah.
And then I have this photo here, which is a night shot, and the telephone decided that it's going to shoot this at 3200 ISO. And on the display of the telephone, the photo looks great. And if you send it to a friend or you post it on social media, it's also going to look great on the displays of your friends' phones. But once again, you get the file on a computer and you look at it a little more closely, then unfortunately it's a very noisy file. There's a lot of grain going on. I don't like the details in the shot, even though the phone tried very hard to make it look good. So same as earlier, I guess. So next shot is a very interesting one to me, because as I mentioned before, the RAW files out of this telephone come into my program I use, which is called Capture One, a professional RAW file editing software, very bright. So a RAW file compared to a JPEG comes in very, very bright. So I purposely shot this photo underexposed by 2 stops in order to being able to recover the highlights that are being projected on the building. And once again, unfortunately, I'm not able to recover them because they're completely blown out. Even after pushing or basically pulling this photo in Capture One and making it even darker than I shot it, even then the highlights are just gone. It is for me disappointing, because I would expect the camera to deal with this particular case better.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Before we even get to finalizing what your thoughts are on the phone, you tried the slow motion.
Yes, I did.
And what did you think?
I thought it was amazing, because it does 720p with 480 frames a second, which is really nice slow motion. So I was able to catch my friend throwing his baby in the air, which is maybe not appropriate. Don't do that at home. And it looked so amazing. I really liked it a lot.
Okay, that's cool. So what was your experience with the OnePlus 6?
All right, so I actually really enjoyed taking photos with this telephone, I have to say. Going through the modes is very intuitive. There's one really nice thing which I like. You can click once to hit an exposure point, click once again to hit the focal point. So it's actually very intuitive and it's fun to use. In the Pro mode, it's very easy and intuitive to change the speed, the ISO, the focus, plus minus exposure. It's really nice. Taking photos at night seemed to be really easy. The camera cranks up to 3200, I think even 6400 ISO. Mm-hmm. You can just take photos. Taking the photographs was a really good experience, and I very much enjoyed it. Even after testing the Samsung S9 and the Huawei P20, I almost felt like this was the most intuitive professional mode and the most intuitive photographing mode.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's nice. So the images, we talked about this before we started. You said you really loved the way the images looked on the device, yes. But when you moved away from the device, what was the experience as a professional photographer? Because you're going to be editing these photos and playing with the raw files.
So I opened the photos on my computer and I shot a lot of raw files, because once you switch on the professional mode, it allows you to shoot raw. And I use a software called Capture One to treat my raw files. And I was actually disappointed by the photo quality. Like, the JPEGs look unfortunately very digital, very sharpened. The raw files look very overexposed. Usually what I try to do when I shoot raw files is to underexpose a little bit, just to make sure that I've got all the details in, for example, a cloud or in a wave that's in the background. The raw files come in very, very bright and very off on what's the color temperature. So in order to get one raw file to look like the JPEG that's sitting next to it, where the raw file looks very off and the JPEG looks actually very nice, it took me about 10 minutes fiddling around adjustments, just to get the RAW file to look decent. And that's actually it's disappointment. I'm sorry to tell you that. OnePlus, I'm sorry to tell you that I think the phone and the software seems to be working very well. It's intuitive to the hands, but then the software behind it doesn't seem to be where it should be yet, especially after being spoiled by the Huawei P20 and the Samsung S9.
Okay, all right. So I guess you would say, I'm not putting words in his mouth, but you would say, if you're sharing this on Instagram, Facebook, you're fine with this one.
Absolutely. I think you can really take beautiful photos with it, as long as you don't attempt to print them big and hang them on your wall. I think you reach a limit much more quickly here than with other telephones that might be like $300 more expensive maybe.
Okay, so there you have it, guys. Not me, it's Marian, and you guys know what he does quite well. So thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Yes,
as usual.
I appreciate it. Definitely check out Marian Sell. His Instagram page link is down below with this video, so check him out there. And also check out his website. We'll have the link for you so you can see some of the photos he takes, the kind of quality, because he does fantastic work. Yeah, I really hate giving him devices because whenever I give him a device, I take terrible pictures compared to his. But again, thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to like and share this video, favorite this video, subscribe to the channel, and always enjoy your entertainment.
Thank you.